Now we're moving on to percentages. This is somehow always been my favorite topic to teach because I think to this day I run into people who have no idea how percentages work, and they just, they'll bring out their calculator, even if it's you go to a shop and something is on sale and it says 30% off, they will literally take out their phone and start doing the math. And that sort of bugs me because I want all of you to be able to do this in your head, but also just concepts need to be super clear. So what are percentages? Percent, as the word comes from percent, इसको आपने याद रखना है century से. Your cricket reference, century क्या होती है? 100. So percent is per 100, and all that means is this sign of percentage. Actually, let me show you. So this sign, which is a new sign for you, where does it come from? It is just rearranged into 1/100. Okay, so the concept is per 100, everything has to be a fraction of 100. So if I say 75%, I want you to think always, oh, it's just 75 out of 100. So the percentage, you just write it as 1/100. Uske 50% आए exam में, he just got 50/100. And I'm jumping ahead, but basically once you've written it like this, you can always simplify. 50/100, सबको 50% पता है होता है half, or 50% आधा. But where does it come from and what's the link? Notice we converted percentage into a fraction and we simplified the fraction, and we could also write this as a decimal, which we'll get to in a second. So how do I want to teach percentages? It's with this simple concept of a bar, whether you want to think of this as the fuel in your car or any sort of gauge. So I've just drawn a simple box and marked it from 0 to 100%. Now 100%, everyone should know, when I say give me your 100%, which I do want you to for this course, then I'm saying give me full, right? And why is that? Well, 100%, remember I can write the percentage sign is just over 100. 100/100 is equal to 1. So this is full. This is as much as you can get. It's 100%. And 0 by definition is 0/100. It's just 0. Yeah, 0% effort kiya usne, right? So first of all, if I just divide it, andaze se, right, like here, if this is the middle, that doesn't look like the middle. I'm not aligned. Here we go. So if that's the middle, okay, I think we're intuitively used to this. Middle is half, middle is 50%. Okay, mathematically, why? 50% as in 50/100. If I divide this, 51s are and 2s are, it is exactly half. So it is exactly in the middle. These are equal halves, right? So that's fine. But let's push that, because I think this everyone knows. But when we start getting into 20%, 25% and so forth, people haven't really formed this image. So in my mind, I'm trying to teach you how I think about it. I'd love for you to think like this too. So if I further do halves, I'm now doing quarters, okay? Quarter ho gaya. So each of these is quarter, quarter, quarter. This is, remember how we learned fractions, right? So by definition, if I do, मैंने ये 50 था ना, this was 50%, and I've halved it, I should get half of this. I should get 50%, I've divided it by 2, I should get 25%, and intuitively 25%, I could have also done, oh, this is just 1/4, and what is 1/4? It is 25/100. Remember, percentage is over 100, and if I simplify this, I will get 1/4. So, all right, this is starting to feel intuitive. If this is, let me write all of them over here. Now, if this is, I'm going to raise this a bit, 25%, this was, middle is always 50%. I think logically you can realize each of these blocks is 25. So 25, 25, this needs to be another 25. So even intuitively I can fill out that this should be 75%. Why? Because it is 3/4, and 75/100, 25 3s are, 25 4s are, is 3/4. So you're also learning this equivalence, which we'll do more formally, but fractions and percentages you can always convert from one to another. So now we know, okay, we have a scale where I'm going to erase this working so it becomes more intuitive, and the image that I'm trying to permanently park in your mind is this, okay? Okay, if you have this fuel gauge, you know कि middle में 50 है, उसके left right पे 25 is, you know quarter tank रह गया, that's how you say it. Yeah, oh अभी तो 3/4 full है गाड़ी, that's how you say 75. Well, let me now add a bit more to the same scale, which is these everyone knows. What about if I'm thinking in thirds? So forget halving it. I'm going to leave these here because this is true. This was 50% and this. But on the same gauge, if I had said I'm thinking in thirds, so this is roughly a third or maybe slightly here. So this is a third, this is 2/3, and now pura. So 1/3, 2/3, and 3 out of 3, right? So now what is 1/3? If I want to convert a fraction to a percentage, all I have to do is multiply it by 100 and add the percentage sign. You can always multiply by 100%. It stays the same, but notice what happens. So what is this? This is just 100 over 3 percentage sign, and that's roughly 33 1/3, okay, which is 100 divided by 3, 33.333. So roughly when someone says, oh, just a third, I think 33%, technically it is 33 1 over 3%, and then what is twice of that? It should be 66 2 over 3%, okay? So why am I teaching you this? Well, anytime you see the word 33%, yeah, 30% discount hai, know that you are somewhere here on the scale of things. So it is 1/3 full, right? This is 1/3 full, so that's 33%. I'm going to leave those here now. So I'm just going to erase this and just say this is 33 is roughly here. 33 1/3% is 1/3. This was a half, okay? This is middle, sorry, this was a quarter, this is a half, and then this mark somewhere here is 66%, 66 and 2/3%, okay? What else are useful? Well, something like 15% would be, now that you have a whole scale, and if you are calibrated, you can just see if I'm moving to the left, I'm getting smaller than 25, so 20 should be roughly here. Another important one knowing, because 20% is 1/5, and finally 80% is 4/5. Okay, you can just show that mathematically. So if I'm converting 80%, that's just 80 over 100, and zeros cut gaye, 2 4s are, 2 5s are. So I'm just representing some things, and whether you're thinking in fractions or percentages, the point of me making this for you is don't just look at a chart. I'm not expecting you to memorize this. I'm hoping you form this mental image of a gauge, a fuel gauge, and when I'm saying, oh, the gauge is 40% full, you should know, oh, that's just under the 50 mark. 40 needs to be somewhere here. So you can already in your brain sort of make this image of, oh, I'm only full this much. 40 is full, 60 is missing. Okay, that's how this works. Now let's formalize all the different conversions, which is percentage to fraction. So we have three things, right? We've learned percentage, we've learned fractions, and we've learned decimals. So if there's one sheet you're reviewing for your exam, make sure you know how to do this one. All right, I'm putting a star here. This is important. So how do we do percentage to fraction? Let's take an example. 25%. I think this is the simpler one, because remember, percent is per 100. So you should never forget, I just have to, instead of percent, I can just write over 100, and importantly, get rid of the percentage sign. It's gone. The percentage gets replaced with 1 over 100. You can't leave both because you'll make a mistake, and I'll show you why. But now all you have to do is simplify it the way you know to simplify fraction. 5 5s are 5 2s are 0. Oh, I can simplify this more. 5 1s are 5 4s are, I get 1/4. So I have gone from a percentage to a fraction. And the reason I said you have to get rid of it, imagine I'd written 25 over 100, but I left the percentage sign. Then at the end of my working, I would get that, and that's wrong. 1/4% is not the same as 1/4, because the whole point was getting rid of the percentage sign. Okay, so that's the first one. What about percentage to decimal? So it's the same logic. You still start with, okay, let's say 25%. I'm sticking with that. So instead of percent, I got, remember, 25 over 100. And we spent a lot of time learning how to do, this is super simple because it's just zeros. I just have to move the decimal place. So the decimal, I'll add a 0 here and a 0 here just to show. The decimal is here right now. If I divide by 100, what happens? The decimal moves it has to get smaller. Remember, 25 has to get smaller because I'm dividing. So the decimal has to move to the left 2 spaces. It will come here, and that's where that 0 will come in handy. So all I've done is actually divided, and I got 0.25, right? If you're not comfortable doing this, you can still always just divide. Whether it was from this, I can actually just divide it like that, set it up as a division. It is 1 divided by 4. तो नहीं हो सकता, 0 पॉइंट यहाँ 0 लग जाएगा, 4 2s are 8, 2 नीचे आ जाएगा. Now you can bring down a 0 and 4 5s are, so you get the exact same number. So इसमें कोई डरने का, या this isn't something where only one method works. The whole point is you can always convert from percentage to fraction. I'll just write a fraction to decimal. You can always do that. 50%, right? You can go either way. You can come back to this, you can go back to that. They are equivalent. So let's keep going. The next one is, what about converting a fraction to a decimal? I did the example here, but let's say you had 1 over I don't know, let's try 5, because you'll get a nice even number. But notice, by the way, you could, and I'll do one, let me also do, I guess, 1 over 3, where you don't get a nice even number. So 1 over 5, what am I saying? Well, I want a decimal. Let me actually do the division. So I'll just do 1 divided by 5. The zeros are, put the point, you can bring down a 0 now, and 5 2s are 10. So you just get 0.2. That's the answer. 1 over 5 is equal to 0.2. What about 1 over 3? Notice when you do this long division, so same step, 0.0 niche aaya, 3 3s are 9, you get a 1 again. Okay, bring down another 0, 3 3s are 9, you get a 1 again, and you will notice that yes, this keeps going on forever, and that's fine. You know, if they've asked you for this, you will just say, and the way you signify this on an exam is 0.3, and you put a dot over it, which says this 3 recurs, or even 3 3, and you can put a dot on top of it. This dot, you learn, it's in your book, just says that this 3 is recurring. Some people will just write it like this, that the 3 is going on, which is, I guess it's fine, but the correct mathematical way is, when you find the recurring digit, recurring, you put a dot on top of it. Okay, it just signifies that this is this 0.33333. All right, what about fraction to a percentage? Okay, interesting. So if I have 1 over 5, the same number, there's 2 ways to make it a fraction. The first one is, if you convert it to, if you have, well, okay, we'll get to decimal as well, but how do we do fraction? Well, you just multiply. So 1 over 5, you say multiplied by 100%. Now, very important, I'll make the note. The only reason we can do this is, percent का क्या मतलब होता है? Percent होता है over 100. So इस वक्त I'm just multiplying the fraction. Remember, we learned it has to be the same number ऊपर नीचे. I can do this. I can't just do this. So if you write it like this on an exam and you forget to put the percentage sign, then this is mathematically wrong. You've just taken a fraction and just decided कि मैं इसको 100 से, I'll just multiply it. That's wrong. You can't just multiply. So the percentage sign in this middle step is also important. Now you can just say, okay, leave the percentage sign. All I'm doing is cancelling. So all I'm doing is this 100, leave the percentage. It's just 100 over 5. So when I simplify, 5 1s are, 5 2s are 0, I get 20%. So I have gone from a fraction to a percentage. And finally, what about decimal to a percentage? We can do the same example, which was, remember, 0.2. So 0.2, you want to convert to a percentage. It's the exact same as this. You just have to multiply by 100%. But in this case, there's some decimals involved. This is why we spent so much time on tens ki power. So let me write this as 0.2. Remember, I can always get rid of the 10, the decimal, and put niche, I'll put 10, because it's just it's just one decimal place. So I can write 0.2 as 2 over 10, and it's getting multiplied by 100, and the percentage sign is important here. Now I can just simplify. The 0 gets cut with this 10, and you're left with 2 times 10, which is 20, and the percentage sign, super important, will come here. So again, we're getting the same thing. 0.2 is equal to 20%, is equal to 1/5. That is, they're all equivalent.